Jeremiah chapter 29. I'm going to try to explain this one here. I'm also going to point out something at the end of this video, why it's a little difficult for folks to read the Bible, because of the way the Word is written. And it's very thorough. And a lot of people can't hold on through its thoroughness. You know, they kind of get lost, in where it's going, because they get tied up in the names and all that. Okay, but we'll mention that in a moment after I mention what's going on here. Because I had to just study a little bit here and recognize Jeremiah. I remember making a thoughts video about this last time I read through it. I believe this is the chapter. It says that he sent a letter, and after all these pronouncements of the terribleness of the captivity and what would happen if they didn't, yield themselves to the, put themselves under the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar. I don't think I've got to it yet either, but somewhere along we'll be getting to where, I don't know if we've read it or not. I can't remember. I think it would have stood out to me and I remember. But, God calls Nebuchadnezzar his servant, which is just a very interesting thing. He's his servant, but didn't he, bring trouble upon Israel? Yeah, but that was ordained of the Lord. That's why God said, hearken to him, do what he says. He's my servant. He's going to, carry out my judgment. It's just kind of wild, to consider. But then anyway, so this letter was sent that told the people, and what I was leading up to is like, you're expecting it to be more like, hearken to me, I the Lord will, cause all this trouble and reproach and disaster to come upon you. But then it turns into this: Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon, whom I have caused to be carried away. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Take ye wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives of your sons and for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there and not diminished. It's like, what? What about the voice of the bride and the bridegroom? The sound of mirth will be removed. Yes, it was from Jerusalem, where the judgment was coming down on. But now, hey, you're still my chosen people. You're in Babylon. I'm going to bless you there, just like I did when you were in Egypt. I blessed you. You multiplied like crazy till they took you captive there, really. That's how it happened in Egypt. But these guys were taken captive from the first place and then, let go after a while when I guess, they figured they didn't need them anymore. We'll find out about that as we carry on. Okay, so anyways, that's the letter that Jeremiah sent. He sent this letter telling them to, increase, be, of good cheer, be happy. God wants to bless you. You're, like I say, still his children. So all this is all good. And then it comes down here. And then there's other letters mentioned that were sent by Shemaiah. Jeremiah includes this in his letter. Thou shalt speak to Shemaiah the Nehelamite. I have the hardest time with that. Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, saying, Because thou hast sent letters in thy name unto all the people that are in Jerusalem, and to Zephaniah the son of Maaseiah the priest, to all the priests, saying, The Lord hath made thee priest in the stead of Jehoiada the priest, that ye should be officers in the house of the Lord, for every man that is bad and maketh himself a prophet, that thou shouldest put him in prison and in the stocks. Now therefore why hast thou not reproved Jeremiah of Anathoth, which maketh himself a prophet to you? For therefore he sent unto us in Babylon, saying, This captivity is long, build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. See, Jeremiah was telling them the truth. You're going to be there a long time. This other fella, was one of these peace kind of guys. And Zephaniah, the priest, read this letter in the years of Jeremiah the prophet. Zephaniah. And then, so the Lord told Jeremiah what to say about Shemaiah, the Nehelamite, that, he was going to have some big trouble because he prophesied a lie, and he wasn't a prophet. So he's warning him, you're going to have some trouble here. So that's how that plays out. So Jeremiah sent a letter to the children of Israel in Babylon to tell them, hey, enjoy yourself while you're there. You're going to be there a while. And then the other guy sent letters to, but he didn't I don't know, there's still something I'm not quite exactly sure of. What Jeremiah says, why hast thou not reproved Jeremiah of Anathoth? Because I guess he didn't, give him a hard time and say, hey, look. I don't know exactly. But this part here, now I'm going to read you this part and why it's hard for people to read the Bible sometimes because you get lost in some of these, and that's why it's good to hear somebody, who can read it where it's read in a certain way, that will all enter this kind of stuff in as parenthetical information, such as down here. But even some of this up here is kind of parenthetical because it gives detail, because, okay, look. Now these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem unto the residue of the elders which were carried away captives. And then it gives specifics as to who exactly, and then by who, and when, and all this. And then way down here it says, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts. So see, all this starts with, now these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah sent, or that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem, saying, and down here, where is it? Where did it go? I lost it again. Saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts. So all this is like, just so you know exactly what I'm talking about here, there's all this. So you got to get through all this before you get down to what it started with. You see what I'm saying? And over here, the same kind of thing happens, that other portion that I mentioned. Thus shalt thou speak also to Shemaiah, the Nehelamite, saying, thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, saying, because thou hast sent letters. Okay, no, I'm sorry, that's not the part. This is the part. Then came the word of the Lord unto Jeremiah, saying, send to all them of the captivity, saying, thus saith the Lord concerning... Okay, no, it's not. Somewhere in here there was another example of the same kind of thing. But I think you get my point. I don't need to belabor that. So sometimes, if you're reading the Bible to yourself, don't allow yourself to get like, what, huh, who, what, when, huh? Okay, the point is here, the letter that was sent, and this is what the letter said. Now, these details are good to study, to just make sure you're in check with who exactly got the letters and who exactly took them away to Babylon, and who were carried away, some of the types of folks that were taken and all that. Okay, let's get on with it. Next, 649 coming up. Jeremiah 30.